This is the Wave Rover story. Well, Rovers, we are 2 days out from our departure. Let me show you what I've been working on. So this is the new wind vane for light weather sailing, medium and light weather sailing. It just got 2 coats of S1. So while I was at it, I got the series drogue out, and the series drogue is what we intend to use for extreme weather circumstances. So starting at the end right here, we have some weight. So this is a stainless steel chain, and then what we have are little parachutes, and they just inflate as they enter the water. So it goes on and on. It's about 200 feet in length. So let's take a look at this end here. Like all the shackles, I've moused them to make sure that they don't come undone. So right up to here, these two haven't been done because these two are the bridle. Now the bridle, you might notice, is this thin little line. Now the whole series drogue needs to be fitted for about 3,000 pounds working load. But in fact, these lines are about 2 to 3 times that, and the braking strength is over the top. For example, these shackles right here, these have a working load of 4,400 pounds, but the actual braking strength is over 20,000 pounds. They only need to carry a working load of 3,000 pounds. The blue line is 7,700 pounds, so over double what I need for a working load. Now, at this point in the series drogue, it splits into 2, and that's because this is a bridle. And the bridle separates and goes onto these chain plates right here, one on each side. And I'll be hooking that up tomorrow, and we'll be sailing with the bridle already attached, but this will be undone and this will be packed carefully into a bag, and it'll be like a parachute ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Well, Rovers, I am less than 24 hours away from heading off across the Atlantic. I'm a little bit curious how much I weigh, because I know typically on these long passages I lose a bit of weight, so I'm just trying to track that. So we're going to get a baseline right now and just see how much I weigh. So we'll just turn the scale on. We're on. No. So we're 138.5, and I can tell you that that's pretty much how much I've weighed since I was 22. And how do I know that? I used to go to military college. I was on the varsity wrestling team, and I used to wrestle at 63 kilograms, and this is more or less 63 kilograms. So anyway, there's a fair bit of preparing to do today to get the boat ready for departure tomorrow on the tide. Time to crack on. Rick, what are we doing?
I got a couple of ribeyes on there. I got some strip loins on the good old Virginia Beach Weber ready to go. I got to fatten up my buddy Al to get him to sea. He needs this fat.
Absolutely. Thank you. Proper Rover hero.
Proper Rover hero. Forge your own adventure.
Well, fellas, what do you have to say?
We're lucky coin holders here in Virginia Beach, and what we're so excited to say is to forge your own adventure.
You guys are pros. Well done. Well, folks, we are about 10 minutes away from departure. Pretty exciting. Yeah, Wave Rover's in great shape. Here she is. So, time to hop on board and crack on. Well, Rovers, here's the nav brief. Wave Rover is right here, the red triangle in the Virginia Beach area. And the overview is we are headed right across the Atlantic over to here, to the Port of Horta on the island of Fayal in the Azores. Now let's just We're not going to get there today, obviously. I'm estimating approximately 30 days. That's based on 75 miles a day. But, you know, of course, this is highly dependent on wind. So I've had to wait until approximately 9 o'clock to depart from here. I'll be going through this canal. This canal has a couple of shallow spots. It's only 2 feet at chart datum, so we're taking the high tide, which brings us to 4 feet, which probably only gives us a clearance of a little over 6 inches, although they have told me they've dredged it. And then the second thing we have to worry about is this bridge right here. This bridge has very, very fast currents when the current is running, so we'll be hitting that at slack water at 9 o'clock. So, oops. So I have planned my whole departure around the slack water, and then it's just a matter of getting into the bay. We don't really need to get into the traffic lanes. We can just stay off to the side if they're busy, and then we're just heading straight out, just straight out. We'll take the wind. We're not really worried about too many things. We just want to come almost due east at first because we're trying to get across the Gulf Stream. And the Gulf Stream right now is located 120 miles off of Virginia Beach, and it's currently 80 miles wide at that point. Once we get across the Gulf Stream, then we don't have to worry anymore about northerly winds coming and upsetting us. So we've been very cognizant about that. So even though we had nice winds from the north, it was cool. Now we have at least 3 days of winds from the south, and that's what we're going to take to get out and across get underway on this voyage.
How's out?
We're underway.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Thanks again.
Travels.
Thank you.
Enjoy every minute. We'll be thinking of you and praying for you, and look forward to hearing in about 30 days from you.
Ezekiel,
Yeah.
I'll let you guys know as soon as I get in there. Thanks very much, buddy.
All right.
care.
You're
Take
the
care.
best.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking of you when I put the Azores or the Portuguese flag up.
Absolutely.
When I did Wave Rover 1, the Contessa 26, and I spent about a year fixing it up in my yard. And I built this the Mark III, you know, based on some experiences that I picked up over the last 30 years. And I didn't know if it would work or not. You know, I had this feeling that it would, but there's so many little variables. It's easy to mess this up if you don't truly understand what's happening. So I leave Summerside and I'm heading to Port Hawkesbury, which is, it took us, I think, 42 or 44 hours to do that. And I have Darren Bulger on board. Now, Darren Bulger is a neighbor of mine. He's a barber, but you know, he lives about 2 miles away from me. Great guy. And he comes on board. He was a fan of the whole project and came on board with me. And I thought, this is marvelous. You stay on the tiller. I'll mess around with this steering gear and see if I can get it to work. And so he did that. And the wind was light and variable. And I thought, well, maybe that's the reason I can't get it to work. But if I can't get this to work, I cannot go offshore, because as a solo sailor, after I drop Darren off in Cape Breton, I'm by myself. I've got to get this to work. And I couldn't get it to work, despite what I was doing. I was crossing lines, I was trying at numerous things. And to this day, I still don't know what I was doing wrong. But I got to Cape Breton, to Port Hawkesbury, and by this time CBC's run an article, or run a newscast on me. The local radio station in Port Hawkesbury has sent their person down and you know, interviewed me. I have a lot of pressure on me now, and I'm not telling anybody at this point. I haven't figured out the self-steering. Yes, it looks like I have self-steering. I seem to know what I'm doing, but I don't have self-steering. So I cast off, and I let my wife know that if I can't get it to operate properly, by the time I get through the big bay just before the ocean, Shetabucto Bay, if I can't get it to operate properly, I'll turn around and come back. Well, when I got into Shetabucto Bay, which is this massive bay, it's 10 or 20 miles, and the wind came in at a nice angle. It was a beam reach. I set it up. Wow, started working. It was unbelievable. It was such relief to feel that self-steering take over, and now I was just a passenger on board. I still within cell phone range. I called everybody. I was so happy. I called my wife, I called my parents, I called friends, you know. I said, you never guess what I'm doing. I'm outward bound, you know. I probably only have 5 or 10 more minutes of cell phone range, and then I'll be on the open ocean. And that was the beginning of truly understanding trim tab self-steering. Well, Rovers, now as the United States has dipped below the horizon, I'd like to say that it has been a most generous and gracious host for Wave Rover. I've truly enjoyed my stay there. Now Wave Rover has turned her bows to Europe. We're just completing our first day at sea, headed to the Azores, the Port of Horta on the island of Fayal, some 2,250 nautical miles from where we started earlier today. As always, Rovers, thanks for watching and forge your own adventure.